What's up, people? James K948 here. Listen, I was in denial when I first read about it. I actually didn't read any articles or watch any YouTubes. I just scrolled through YouTube when typing G.I. Joe in the search tab, and, and one of the results that came up was a video with the title R.I.P. Stan Lee and how this guy's toyline wouldn't be the same without him. I didn't actually watch the video, but just reading those words in my head gave me the same feeling I had when I watched Transformers The Last Night last year. You remember that scene from Civil War when Vision took out Rhodey? Yeah. Replace the android with Michael Bay, the Mind Stone power beam with The Last Night, and War Machine with me! That's how I felt when watching The Last Night, at least up till the last 5 minutes. Now imagine that when reading that just the phrase alone nearly drove me to tears. Which means it's gonna hurt even more when I watch all of these news videos and tribute videos. That's gonna last me until midnight. And after that, I'm taking a break from Marvel and DC and Star Wars and stuff because here's the thing. Here's my history with Marvel. I was always more of a bigger DC fan, mainly because DC has touched me in the one area that Marvel has yet to fully improve upon their animation. When Cartoon Network gave a damn, back during the Toon City era, DC was one of their biggest cash cows slash their most one of the best action heavy franchises. Back when Cartoon Network used to have such variety. So I was more into DC mainly because the animation was great. I didn't read any comics or anything. I just watched the animations, and by extension, I watched the movies. Only the Dark Knight trilogy, and my first Batman movie was Batman Forever, and then Batman and Robin. Okay, I didn't actually watch Batman Forever. I just watched the Seals video, then Batman and Robin, then the Dark Knight trilogy, and after that, these then after that, everything from Man of Steel to the Last Night. I mean, not till Justice League. Goddamn, 2017. Yeah, I was leaning towards Marvel. Now, how I got into Marvel was basically maybe thanks to the Transformers. You know, the Michael Bay franchise. So, even though okay, so not entirely so. So I obviously got into Marvel thanks to Spider-Man, and up until the MCU, that was the only Marvel character I gave a damn about. I like the amazing. Okay, and also the X-Men movies. Yeah, so I liked the Amazing Spider-Man animated series, the one from the 90s. I love Spectacular Spider-Man, and all the other animated Spider-Man TV shows under Disney's wing, Ultimate Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man. Oh, and speaking of web slinger, I'm. This is my New York T-shirt that I'm going to wear to every Marvel movie going forward, uh, including the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie that's coming out next month. So yeah. And as for the X-Men, watched one episode of the original X-Men cartoon, the one with focus on Gambit and this late goddess, and then watched X-Men Evolution and watched that one episode where Jean Grey gets kidnapped by Blob, and that's about it. From there, it's just the movies, the Spider-Man movies, and the X-Men movies. The X-Men movies are hit or miss, and everything past Spider-Man 2 was kind of a mess. Even though I really love The Amazing Spider-Man and 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is on par with Cars 2. It has a lot more energy and a lot more fun to it, and I consider those two films guilty pleasures. They're certainly more energetic than their predecessors. So, And let's not even get into the Fantastic Four. Oh, I'll get to that later. But now let's focus on the main Marvel universe, the one owned by Marvel Studios. And I know that you guys have your issues with the Marvel universe. I have some concerns, and I can possibly help rewrite some of them lesser movies, Phase 2. But compared to everything other Marvel franchise outside the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a fucking godsend. Cause seriously, between the Marvel Universe and Harry Potter, name me one other franchise that exceeded a trilogy and yet still gets nothing but good scores on their Rotten Tomato page. At least for the movies. Sorry, Iron Fist and the Inhumans. You should have been a movie Inhumans. You can't. Sorry, but not even James Bond and Star Wars can reach such acclaim. And even though you guys have major issues with the MCU, I, on the other hand, am deeply and I'm just deeply satisfied with the MCU. But if you're not completely satisfied with the MCU, I recommend checking out the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It's the entirety of it's like the MCU but perfected. More comic accurate designs, better villains, and more focus on the mythological and magical and cosmic aspects of the MCU, namely Asgard and Thor and Yggdrasil. So yeah, I and the MCU couldn't be where it is today without two people, Kevin Feige and the aforementioned Stan Lee. Rest that man's soul. Or if we're talking the Marvel Universe, set him, let him rest in the gates and halls of Valhalla, assuming Valhalla survived at Ragnarok. I don't know. The Marvelverse is really fascinating. So yeah, that's how I. So that's how I feel about all these Marvel movies. Oh, I forgot to mention some of the one-off Marvel movies that either owned by Fox or Universal, like the Daredevil one, Ghost Rider, and the Non-Incredible Hulk. Oh, at least the MCU done them justice. Say what you want about the Incredible Hulk, but it's miles above that Ang Lee Hulk. Forgettable, yes, but it's even less forgettable than Ang Lee's Hulk. So yeah, what other studios can do, the MCU can do better. For instance, I want the MCU to do the whole old Logan storyline again, but this time go crazy, go nuts. Add in the symbiotic, no, add in symbiote T Rexes. Seriously, guys, I read one volume of that series and I am just blown away by how Marvel can imagine a post-apocalyptic future. That needs to happen, and that's why, in my heart, that the Venom movie should never existed, nor any of the other Spider-Man spin-offs from Sony. The MCU is stronger when all its pieces are together. Seriously, symbiotes meets the T-Rexes in a post-apocalyptic world where the Marvel multiverse just collides on each other. Seriously, the MCU is just so vast and open. It makes any other solo franchise on their own that has no connection to the MCU verse kind of a dull fest in comparison. Not that these non-MCU movies aren't entertaining, Deadpool for instance, but I feel like the MCU is the ultimate translation of the Marvel comics in general, and in my eyes, the live-action adaptation of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So far, it's my favorite comic book cartoon ever. Yeah, that's right. You heard me, Batman. And it would be awesome if the Fantastic Four and X-Men can get back home already. Seriously, Fox, after 2015, the Fantastic Four should have come back this time for Civil War. Or at least, Guardians, like, I don't know, Fox, you should have just sold those rights back the second your movie bombed. Ugh. I just hope that they are somehow stuffed into Avengers 4 just so that Stanley can cameo in a movie featuring good versions of the Fantastic Four and a Wolverine that's dressed in yellow. Please, Kevin Feige, please. Yeah, should have sold those rights back all those years ago. Fox, you stubborn asses, and now look what you are right now. Another pawn in the House of Mouse's gameplay. So yeah, I love the Marvelverse, and I wish nothing but good things for it. And even though I'm worried about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, goddammit Disney, I still have more faith in the MCU than I do other big franchises out there. I'm looking at you, DC. So yeah, I was gonna mention Transformers and how it introduced me into the MCU. Maybe I did. So here's the thing. When I watched Transformers 2007, I was a Megas XLR fan. Again, animation fan, Cartoon Network, back in its heyday. Transformers reminded me of Megas XLR, so when my mom bought me the Blu-ray with the Optimus Prime DVD holder, and I watched it on DVD in 2007, I got fucking hooked. That movie introduced me to the entirety of the Transformers brand. Up until the last night where practically, like I said, shot through the heart, and then crashed down on face flat. I don't know. The Civil War roadie thing. That's how I felt when watching the last night. But back when I used to love the Transformers movie still, I also watched Iron Man the following year, made by the same studio who did the Transformers movies, Paramount. And seeing as how Iron Man basically reminded of Transformers for obvious reasons, I got hooked. And then I watched, Iron Man Armored Adventures. It was Adventures. Iron Man Armored Adventures, another Marvel animated show. The one with the teenage Tony Stark. Yeah, that kind of thing. But then I've also got interested and watched the rest of the MCU. I didn't see the Avengers when they came out. I forgot to see Iron Man 2 when my mom got me the Iron Man 3 DVD. And when Civil War was announced, I had to do what everyone did, go back and rewatch the entire MCU. Oh, and as I went through the entire MCU, I found it really interesting. I like the characters, I like the setting, and I like the fact that these movie designs are so accurate to the comics. Thank you, Accurate.mcu. I look forward to looking at your latest post about Stanley after this video. So yeah, I love the MCU, and even though I really hate what the Transformers franchise did to me, 10 years of undevoted love and passion and defending it against high school bullies, Transformers sucks, that last night basically confirmed what those bullies said. And then from that point on, in 2017, things just started falling apart for some of my favorite franchises. Justice League, what the hell happened? The Dark World and Ragnarok did better critically and financially than you. And then The Last Jedi. Need I say more? So yeah, 2017 was a year of me waking the fuck up and just choosing the better of the franchises. I don't care how many flaws the MCU has in their movies. Sorry, Iron Fist and Inhumans again. It's miles and leagues ahead of every other studio out there, and it's all thanks to Feige and Lee. And given how the 10-year celebration, Infinity War, damn my pronunciations, are miles and leagues ahead of what every one of those quote unquote middle chapters tried to be, again last night, Justice League and The Last Jedi. And how it was a big thank you to the fans instead of a big fuck you to the fans. Seriously, from this point forward, I'm an MCU movie devotee. I won't get too obsessed with the MCU as much as I did Transformers, just in case, because I don't want to get too hyped up on one specific piece of fandom. I'm just placing the MCU in high regard, but not too high. I'm trying to keep my expectations realistic, just so that I don't meet the same heartburn I got from supporting the shitty Michael Bay Transformers. And the Marvel Universe basically inspired me to one day not make a carbon copy of the Marvel Universe, no. Inspired me to get some ideas on how I would make an animated Hasbro Cinematic Universe in animation form. One day. I may not have my animation and drawing skills up to par, but my storytelling skills, I'd just be a supervisor. I'd be I'd be the Kevin Feige of that universe. And I would owe it to the Marvelverse, cause honestly, the Marvel universe, like I said, it's just one big live action cartoon, okay? That's how fun it is. Even the lesser films are still enjoyable. And I'll humbly rewatch The Dark World over again if I want to. There's some interesting stuff out there. Yeah, I know, the Game of Thrones acting kind of threw you guys off, but fuck it. I'm watching that over again. And I don't care what you say, I love The Dark World. Slightly more than the first movie. Okay, sorry I went off a little tangent there. Sorry. So yeah, the MCU, the MCU, thank you for everything you've given me. Thank you for 10 years of awesomeness. 20 movies, 10 years, 0 rotten scores on your tomato page. Ah, but this is also the same year your godfather, basically your Jesus, your creator, moved on to the next life. How ironic. It's about as ironic when the Franz got killed back in 1914 on top of a car with a license plate that says 11/11/18, the end of the First World War, which I just celebrated a few years ago. And I was so pooped up by that I had to take like a 2 days off of school, including the one day where I was supposed to go to class. It was also the same day Stanley croaked. My God, I feel so guilty for pissing off a teacher and for not being aware of this news. Because, like I said at the beginning of this video, I didn't think it was real. But as I kept browsing the net, it's confirmed. He croaked, along with Reggie E. Catley. You know, the guy who played uh, Dr. Storm in Josh Trank's Fan Flopstick, and who was also an associate of Luke Cage in season 2. Because I haven't watched season 2 yet. I'm planning to just for him. But I'm also gonna rewatch Earth's Mighty Heroes, not because of Marvel's 10 years, but because, but bec, but because, honestly, I need to finish that series. I know the MCU basically spoiled some plot lines, but fuck it. I just, I'm doing this just because seriously, this is the year of this Marvel's 10 years is also the year of the Stanley. This is his year as much as Marvel. And so I'm gonna finish Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I'm going to watch Luke Cage season 2. Yeah, just season 2. I don't have time to watch all season 1. The year's almost over. And I'm gonna watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I skipped Venom because it's it's the Sony equivalent of DC's Suicide Squad. And oh yeah, speaking of Spidey, it's Steve Ditko, the original creator of Spider-Man. He passed away too. So later this year, December, before I go to see Into the Spider-Verse, I'm gonna do a trip. I might do a better drawing for Stan Lee. In fact, I'm just gonna draw Stan Lee and Steve Ditko together with all the different versions of Spider-Man I've seen this year. And I'm doing it in December because the cold atmosphere. I really need that cold atmosphere. I just need that cold feeling, even though I'm in Dubai right now. I just need to feel the cold winter atmosphere when I listen to the seasonal appropriate music. So yeah, that's basically my history with Marvel, DC, Transformers, and what I'm going to do to pay homage to Stanley and Dave Dicto. I already have my drawing up on DeviantArt, and I'm gonna upload this video too. So JMK over and out, and as Stan the Man Lee, that's always what I like to call him, would say, Excelsior!